Hey, what's up? Mawanda Ian here, and today we are going to deploy a Vue.js app and a Node.js API on the DigitalOcean Ubuntu server. Now guys, this is my first YouTube tutorial, so if anything goes wrong, just go easy on me guys. Alright, before you get started, we need a Vue.js app and a Node.js API working together before we can deploy them on the DigitalOcean Ubuntu server. So I went ahead and created a simple project with a Vue.js app and a Node.js application, with the Vue.js app fetching simple data from the Node.js application. Let's go ahead and run them and you see how they run, how they work. Open folder, Vue.js app, okay. Now let's launch it with the command npm run serve, enter. Alright, our application has finished launching. Now let's go ahead and run it in browser. Control, click. And there we go. So it has one button that tells you to click to fetch data from API. So when I click, it says, oh no. It says that because we have not yet launched the API. Now let's go ahead and launch the API. Open a new window for the API. Look for it, open it, and also launch it. Node API.js, since we are running it from this file, the API.js, that's why we specify it here. Then enter. Yes, server listening on port 3000. So when we come back and click again, you see finally just fetched our data from the API. Alright, since that is done, the next point is to deploy it to the DigitalOcean Ubuntu server. Now, what is DigitalOcean? DigitalOcean is a unique cloud hosting provider that offers cloud computing services to business entities so that they can scale themselves by deploying DigitalOcean applications that run parallel across multiple cloud servers without compromising on performance. These are the reasons why developers love DigitalOcean. 1. It has an aesthetic and no-fuzz user interface. 2. Its performance is remarkable since it is one of the first providers of SSD-based virtual machines, and it utilized IPv6 before other service providers even considered it. 3. Its documentation is comprehensive, concrete, and very resourceful. 4. Its pricing is affordable. First of all, the basic plan is set at $5 per month, and the choice of hourly and monthly payment options makes it very affordable for small startups and individual software developers to adopt their platform. 5. It offers an active digital community that helps in answering queries and holding feedback discussions so everyone can benefit from them. DigitalOcean provides us with droplets. Now, DigitalOcean droplets are flexible Linux-based virtual machines that run on top of virtualized hardware. Each droplet you create is a new server for you. Now that we have our Vue.js app and Node.js API, it's time for us to deploy them on the DigitalOcean Ubuntu server. So we shall go through 2 steps. The first step is create a DigitalOcean account. The second step is create a droplet on the DigitalOcean account. Now, if you don't have a DigitalOcean account, go ahead and use this referral link to create an account, and if you use this link you will be credited with $50 for 30 days. And guys, it's extremely free to create this account. They won't ask you for a penny. Alright, go on, open a new tab and paste in your referral link. Yes, it will prompt you to enter your full names, email address and create a password, or you can sign up using Google and GitHub. And after this step, it will prompt you to enter either your debit or credit card details or PayPal, just for billing sessions in the future. Alright, since I already have an account, I'll go ahead and sign in. Yes, after signing in, it has a default project, but you create a new project. Now, since I already have two projects, I'll go and run one in host since it's the one I created. This is how your new project should look like. It will tell you get started with a droplet. Yes, go ahead and get started with a droplet. Now we are creating a droplet that is going to hold our API and Vue.js application. So you can choose any distribution, you can choose Ubuntu or FreeBSD or Fedora, Debian or CentOS, but we are going to use the Ubuntu 18, although you can also choose other versions. I shall choose Ubuntu 18 since it's still stable, and it will choose for you $40 per month by default, but you can still downgrade, and for this case we shall use $5 per month. No, we shall not add a storage block. Yes, you have to choose a data center, and it's advised that you choose a data center that is closest to you, and I will choose London to be closest to me. We shall not select these. Choose one-time password. Now this will prompt DigitalOcean to send a one-time password to your email. Alright, then you come down here, create, let's choose a host name. This host name is better for it to be visual and clear. Let's call it Vue Node. It's one droplet. You can go on and create as many as you want, but for this case we shall create one. No tags, one. Alright, go ahead and create a droplet. Alright, I'll be back when it's done creating. Yes, now our droplet has created successfully, and it is time for us to connect to it remotely. And you're going to use SSH to do that. I'll go ahead and copy this IP address. Come open your terminal. For Windows users, use PuTTY. Come here and type in SSH root at Ctrl+Shift+V to enter the IP address, and then enter. The authenticity of user, blah 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 blah. Go ahead and say yes. Alright, so we've been added to the list of known hosts. Now it's time for us to enter the password. Now go ahead and open your email to get the password. Yes, it's here. New droplet. Yep. The password is here. Copy the password. Come back here. In the terminal, then Ctrl+Shift+V to paste it there. Enter. Oh, permission denied. Did I copy it wrongly? Let me go back. Copy it again. Enter. Oh god. Whew. Alright. Now, since we told it to give us a one-time password, it will prompt us to change the current password and create a new password. So for us to do that, we still paste the current password, Ctrl+Shift+V, enter, and then we go ahead and create a new password. Retype it, enter. Alright, now we are in our droplet. It's successful. Go ahead and clear the terminal. Now, since we are done creating the droplet successfully, and we've accessed it successfully in terminal, it is time for us to install Nginx onto it.
What is Nginx? Nginx is a web server which can also be used as a reverse proxy, load balancer, mail proxy, and HTTP cache. Now, Nginx is one of the most popular web servers in the world, and it is responsible for hosting some of the largest and highest traffic sites on the internet.
Alright, because Nginx is available in Ubuntu's default repositories, it is possible to install it from these repositories using the apt packaging system. Since this is our first interaction with the apt packaging system, we will update the local package index so that we have access to the most recent package listings. Then after that, we can install Nginx. Alright, let's go ahead and update. Sudo apt-get. You should see me dancing. Alright, it's done updating. Now it's time for us to install Nginx. Sudo apt install Nginx. Go ahead and say yes. Alright, so we've successfully installed Nginx. Before testing Nginx, the firewall software needs to be adjusted to allow access to the service. And remember, Nginx registers itself as a service with a firewall upon installation. Now, this makes it straightforward to allow Nginx access. Now let's go ahead and list application configuration that the firewall knows using this command. Let's first clear the terminal. Let's list the application configurations using sudo ufw, the firewall, sudo ufw app list. You should get a list of application profiles. Now these Nginx full, Nginx HTTP, Nginx HTTPS, and OpenSSH. Now you may not know these, but Nginx full opens both port 80 and port 446. 8 is for normal unencrypted web traffic, and 446 is for TLS/SSH encrypted traffic. Now Nginx HTTP opens only port 80, that's for normal unencrypted web traffic. Then Nginx HTTPS opens only port 443. You remember that? But for this case, we shall allow Nginx HTTP since it's the one you're going to use. Let's run the command sudo ufw allow single quote Nginx HTTP close quote, enter. Alright, rules have been updated, and we can verify the status by running sudo ufw status. Oh, it's inactive. The firewall is inactive. Let's enable it. Sudo ufw enable. Command may disrupt existing SSH connections, blah blah blah. Just go ahead and say yes. Alright, firewall is now active and enabled at system startup. Yep. So let's go ahead and run the status. It's active, and you can see it's now allowing this anywhere. Alright. After enabling this, let's go ahead and check if the server is running successfully Nginx. So systemctl status Nginx, enter. Well, it should be running very well. Let's end it with Ctrl+C. Now let's go to the browser and taste it. Let's come back here, copy this IP address, since it's the one you're running the droplet. Copy IP address. Let me first close this tab. Paste it in here, then enter. Voila! Our web server Nginx is running successfully, and this is a check. And guys, remember, this is the server that is going to help us serve the Vue.js application. Now, there is no application yet on the droplet. That is why it is running this Nginx page by default. Now, let's go ahead and deploy our Vue.js app and the Node.js application on the DigitalOcean Ubuntu server. We shall start with the Vue.js app.
For us to deploy any application on the DigitalOcean Ubuntu server, we need to first push it to a Git repository manager like GitLab or GitHub, and then go to our droplet and pull it from the GitLab Git repository manager.
It's now time for us to push our Vue.js application to the Git repo. That's at GitLab for now, although you can use GitHub or others. The first step is we have to create the project at the GitLab. So go ahead, open your browser, start your GitLab, open your GitLab account or GitHub, then create a new project. Let's call it Vue app. Create project. Now go ahead and set up these global configurations. I'll copy them at once. Open your Vue application. This is the one, yes. Paste them. Go ahead and push the existing folder. Copy these. Then paste them in here. First of all, this initializes our Git, and then this adds the remote URL, and this adds all files to Git, and commits with a message, and then push. Now it's going to do them at once. Enter. They've been created. Now let's push them. Alright, they've been pushed successfully. We can go ahead and open our project, refresh it, and you'll be able to see them here. Alright, now that we've pushed them, it is time for us to pull them from the droplet. So go ahead, copy your IP address for the droplet, then access it using SSH root at Ctrl+Shift+V to enter the IP address. It will prompt you to enter a password. And if it takes long to prompt for the password, it means our SSH access has been blocked at the droplet. Remember, we enabled the firewall for security. Now what you have to do is you end this by pressing Ctrl+Shift, clear the terminal, then go to your DigitalOcean droplet, enter the droplet, and then go to access, then launch console. Now this is giving us access outside SSH. When you're here, type in your user, and for now it's root. Enter. Then it will prompt for password. Enter the password. Now we are here. We access our droplet using SSH through the port 22. Now go ahead and type sudo ufw allow 22, then enter. Alright, the rows have been added. Now you can exit, come back, try again. Now it has asked for the password. All right, enter password. Cabral. Oh, I think I made a mistake. Yes, now we're there. So remember, because we are using vue-cli, we need Node.js installed. Now, for us to install Node.js, let's first clear the terminal. Yes, we shall have to run apt install node.js. Enter. Y. Alright, it has successfully installed. Let's clear terminal and check it for its version. Yes, there we are. We can also check for the version of npm. And we're good to go. Alright, since that is done, we have to go and create our Vue.js directory in the Nginx server. And the default Nginx server page is served in the var www/html. So let's navigate up to the cd var www.html. Oh, directory is not there. I forgot to put the /. Alright, so we are in here, and if we say ls, you'll notice there is a page. It's an HTML page. Now this is the page that is being served to us here, but remember, we want to create our own directory for the Vue and Node.js API. Let's go ahead and create the directory. Say make directory. Let's call it our web app. Enter. Now let's move into our web app, the directory. All right. Now, since we are in here, it's time for us to initialize Git. But let's first check if Git is already installed. By checking Git version. Yes, Git is already installed. Let's go ahead and first check if Git has been installed. Yes, we already have. Oh, no, it's not there. Yeah, we already have Git. Alright, let's clear. It's now time for us to connect the server to GitLab, and that is by creating SSH keys that are going to enable to facilitate the connection. Now, this is move to root, and in here we are looking for a folder called .ssh. Yes, it's right here. So when you open SSH, when you move into SSH and LL, you'll notice we don't have keys. It's clear. So it's now time for us to create the keys. And for us to create the keys, we run a command called ssh keygen. Ssh keygen. Enter. 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 Alright, they've been successfully created. When you LL again, you will notice that we have IDRSA, then IDRS pub. This is for public, and we are going to need these to share with GitLab. So go ahead and copy them. Run cat id underscore rsa dot pub. Enter. Now you're going to copy all of this. Copy it. Sorry. Ctrl Shift C. Then come to GitLab and move to settings, look for SSH keys here, and then come and paste them here. Then add key. Title will be automatically added for you, so add key. Voila! So now our G club and droplet are now connected and they can communicate safely. Alright, since that is done, it's now time for us to go ahead and pull our Vue.js application from GitLab. Now let's navigate back into our web app folder. It says cd. Let's first clear this. So it says cd var www/html/our web app. Enter. Now this is when we run our git clone command to clone the app from the other side. So let's first go back to GitLab and copy the git URL, the remote URL for SSH. So we want to clone with SSH. We have to copy this, come to our terminal and say git clone, paste the URL, and we can give it a name that we want it to come into. For this case, we want it to come as vue.js _app. So it's now cloning. Give it time. Alright, it's now done cloning. Well, that was fast. It's now time for us to move into our application. Since we created the folder called vue.js app, it's now time for us to move into it. Cd vue.js app, enter, then you say ll. Alright, it's right there. And before you do anything, you have to install everything within the package.json, all the packages, and this is when you run npm install. This is going to install all the packages that are needed for the application to run. Right, since it has successfully installed, let us run it for production use now. So we run npm run build, enter. Alright, it has built successfully. Let's clear this. Now it's time for us to change the Nginx setting, since it is currently pointing to this default page. Now we want it to point to our Vue.js application, the one which we have just built. And Nginx is located in the etc/nginx directory. Now let's move to the directory. We can say cd back, then cd/etc/nginx. Now within Nginx, if you list them, you will see folders, and you are looking for this folder, sites available. That's where we have to check in for the server block, because a server block is going to help us direct all the traffic that is coming to our Vue application. And there is a default server block. It's called default. Now let's go ahead and open sites available, enter, and if we list whatever is in here, you'll see there is a default and you're looking for this default file. Now let us run nano. Let's first clear terminal. So let us open the default. Yes, we are here. This is where the magic goes down, and we have to change this to listen to that. Right, what we are going to change is this root. Remember, it is pointing to this this web page, but we want it to point to our Vue.js application, and our Vue.js application is in a folder called our web app, vue.js app, and and dist. Now let's go ahead and change this. HTML, add our web app / vue.js app / dist. All right, I hope that works well. Let's go ahead and save it. Ctrl X to exit, yes, Y, then enter. All right, this is now the time to check if Nginx is working very well. Sudo Nginx T. Yes, configuration is okay, successful, and all the stuff. Now, after making these changes, remember, we have to restart Nginx such that it is able to see the changes that we've just made and it is able to point to our Vue.js application. Go ahead and run sudo service Nginx restart. Enter. Voila. Now, God willingly, I hope the application is now running very well. Let's go ahead and refresh this page. Enter. Yay!
Introducing a Korakin song.
Our Vue.js application is successfully running, and if you come and click fetch data, it will say fail to connect to API. That's because our API has not yet been deployed. And before we continue, there is another problem. The problem is, remember, this is usually using vue-cli, we are targeting single page applications. And if you come and input a route, like something like that, it will throw this error of not found Nginx. Now, we don't want it to be like that. For us to overcome that, we have to go back to our default file, cd, look for it, cd/etc/nginx/sites available LL. We are looking for default. All right, let's open Nano. Let's open default. Come down here to server. Yes, server name. And then after server name, we are going to add a line. And the line is going to say error page 404/terminate, and then exit save y default. And then let's check our status, Nginx T. Now what we've literally told it is if anyone enters a route and it goes to a route that is not found, it should redirect you back to the route. So let us restart our Nginx. Sudo service Nginx restart. Alright, so if we come back and refresh this, it will take us back to this page. Even if you enter any other thing, it will take us back to the default page. Yay! Now let us go and upload our Node.js API. It's now time for us to deploy the Node.js API. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come a very long way for this. All right, let's get started. remember we have to first push it to GitLab such that we are able to pull it from the droplet. Now come to GitLab and create a new project. Create a new project. Call it Node API. Create. Now let's go to our Node API and initialize all these environment configurations. It's right here. Okay. Come here, copy this, paste it here. Then remember we are pushing an existing folder, so copy up to here. Since we are already in the folder here, we don't need to cd into it. We just need to initialize git, add the remote, then add all files, and then commit and push. So go ahead, paste, add the files, then push. Voila, successfully pushed. When you come and check our project and refresh it, we should see it there. It's right there. Now it's time for us to go and pull it from the droplet. Now move to the droplet. Remember we're in sites available. Let's move back. And our folder, we are going to pull it in the same folder that we put the Vue.js application. So let's cd into it, cd var www.html / our web app, then enter. If we ll, we have only one folder. This is vue.js and app. Now it's time for us to clone. Now go ahead and say git clone, enter the URL, which is the URL of the API, which is this. Copy it, come and paste it in here, then give it the name of the folder that we want our project to be under. Let's call it node.js API. Cloning. Alright, cloning is now done. After cloning is done, we can then run it normally, and to run actually, and let me show you. I can come and say node api.js. Oh, sorry, we're supposed to move into the folder, so cd node.js, then we say node api.js. Alright, so it is listening from port 300. Let's try and check it out from here. I hope it works. Fingers crossed. 30000. Nah. Alright, but it's running now. Let's close it. After this, we need to install a production process manager for Node.js applications with a built-in load balancer, and this manager is called PM2. It allows you to keep applications alive forever, to reload them without downtime, and to facilitate common system admin tasks. This PM2 runs our Node API as a service, which needs to be registered by Nginx and the firewall. So I see if you're connecting the dots here. Now let's go ahead and install PM2 using the Node package manager. So PM2 npm install PM2 and let's make it global. Alright, it has now successfully been installed. Now remember, PM2 helps us register the Node API as a service, and it's as easy as running PM2 start api.js. Right, it has been started. You can see it's being identified by ID 0. Remember, Nginx works as a front-end server, which in this case proxies the requests to a Node server, a Node.js server, and therefore you need to set up an Nginx configuration file for Node. These are what we call server blocks. Remember, server blocks. Now, when using the Nginx web server, these server blocks can be used to encapsulate configuration details and host more than one domain for a single server. Now let's go ahead and do this. Let's cd back into the root, clear the terminal, cd into where we found the default file, Nginx, sites available. Alright, if we list them, you'll see this is the default, but we want to create another file that is going to direct traffic to our Node.js API. Let's go ahead and copy this default file into API. So we are going to create a copy of it. Enter. CD, too many arguments. Oh, it's not CD, it's supposed to be cp default API. Now if we say ll, you'll see that there is another one called API, another server block. Let's go ahead and update it to point to our API. Move down. Let's assign it to listen to 81. Shall be listening from port 81. Let's remove this default server because we don't need it for now. You say listen 81, and then we go ahead and comment this out because we don't need it. And then let's go and change this server name to the droplet IP address. Let's go and copy it from here. Copy, then paste it here. So it will be listening to everything coming onto this IP address through port 81. And then let's go and update location. Let's remove this and paste. Change it to that. Do not worry, you can always copy this from the document that I put in the link below. And this is the main part, proxy pass. Make sure it points to that API location. Now this is how it works. It will be, remember this is a droplet and it sees everything in it locally. So the local IP address, the default is 127.00.1, and it's listening from the port 3000, remember. So all the requests that shall be coming to this IP address, and they are going through this port 81, will all be transferred to this IP address, which is our background process that is running the server. Or root. we're supposed to, let's comment this out. All right, let's go ahead and save. Let's exit, say yes, save it. When all that is done, it is time to enable our server block such that Nginx proxies the API requests to a Node.js API server. We create the symbolic link to this file with the following command. Say ln/s, look for the file etc Nginx sites enabled, no, sites available, sorry, API, and then we are going to enable it by moving it to etc/nginx/sites enabled. This makes sure that it is enabled and is seen. Enter. Voila. After that is done, we then let in our firewall to let in requests coming to our API through the port 81 that we assigned to it in Nginx. Let's go ahead and say sudo ufw allow 81. All right. Now our API must be running globally. If it fails, try stopping, deleting, and restarting the process using PM2. All right, let's try our API. This API, we say 81. All right, let us try stopping and restarting the process. Let's say PM2 status. Let's stop it. PM2 stop process 0. Let's delete it. And then let's restart it again. Say, let's go back. cd var www.html our web app node.js. Let's say PM2 api.js and PM2 start api.js. All right, I hope it works. Oh wait, we were supposed to enable after allowing sudo ufw allow 81. Remember that we were supposed to enable it, so go ahead and say sudo ufw enable. Why? Yes. Now come back here. Whew. It has worked, although that's an error, but because our root is on fetch, yes, voila. Now if we come back and test our application, it's not going to work. Our application, it's not going to work. That's because it is pointing at localhost, which is not being seen, and we have to make sure we point it to our API that we have deployed. And the way we do this is we copy this IP address, come back to our Vue.js application, and look for this. The link is here, so it's connecting to this, yet we want it to connect to this IP address and port 81, because this is where now our current API is located. Let's go back and clear and add this commit API route updated, enter, then push it. So you're going to push it to GitLab and then pull it again from the droplet. So it has successfully pushed. Now let's come to the droplet and move to the file, to the folder, which is cd var www html, our web app, and it's vue.js app. Alright, we are here in our Vue.js application. Now it's time to pull. So go ahead and say git pull. Alright, it has now pulled successfully. After that, we need to build it again. npm run build, enter. Alright, it has built successfully. Let's go ahead and restart Nginx. Alright, if we come back here and refresh, it should be updated. Thank you! Voila! Yay! Alright guys, we're coming to the end of our tutorial. And in case you make a change to your API, let's do a simple change to the API. Let's say we say fetching data from Node.js API is, let's change it to API has been updated. Save it, add it to Git, commit it, say API updated, enter, then push it. Right, after pushing, you come back to our droplet, then maneuver back to the API folder, cd, and say node.js API. So in the API folder, git pull it. Alright, it's now updated automatically. Now what you have to do is you have to stop the other the process that is running and start it again. Let's say you say pm2 status to see the processes that are running, and you're looking for this process to stop it, 0. So go ahead and say pm2 stop 0, and I usually prefer deleting it to pm2 delete 0. Then go ahead and start it again, pm2 start api.js. Alright, so now it's running as a service. If I come back and refresh, if I click and fetch again, yes, it has been updated. So
my time has come. You must continue your journey without me.
What are you? What?
Thanks for watching, guys. I'm sorry if I was a bit snotty or whatever that means, but this was my first YouTube video, and I promise to make other coming great videos. Please subscribe, and don't forget to use the referral link to create an account on DigitalOcean such that you can get the $50 credit for 30 days. And don't forget to subscribe.